Independence Day. Je crois qu'il faut l'avoir toujours à l'esprit, hein, ce droit à la liberté, ce droit à l'égalité entre les femmes et les hommes. Voilà, il y a des hommes et des femmes qui se sont battus, hein, et longtemps battus pour que vous puissiez accéder à cette liberté, qui est toujours fragile, hein, cette liberté. Et vous qui voyagez beaucoup, qui vous déplacez, pour certains d'entre vous, bien, tout le monde n'a pas la même notion de liberté, n'a pas accès non plus à ces droits et à cette liberté que l'on peut nous dire qu'on a la chance d'avoir. Donc il est important, hein, comme tout devoir de mémoire, est important de célébrer ce jour. I wish you a very good moment. Je sais que des textes ont été préparés, je sais que ça va se dérouler sur la matinée, hein, si c'est bien ça, jusqu'à 12h30, c'est ça? 11h30. Profitez bien de tout, buvez toutes les paroles qui vont être dites, c'est très important. C'est une notion philosophique aussi, la liberté, vous qui êtes en terminale pour certains d'entre vous et qui abordez la philosophie. C'est pas un 20 mots, hein, et comment ça se gagne, donc soyez des battants pour accéder à cette grande notion. Voilà, je vais vous souhaiter une belle matinée, de belles prestations, je compte sur vous tous, et je sais que vous prenez bien cette notion à cœur, et je vous fais confiance. Merci en tout cas à vos deux professeurs, hein, Madame Naboté et Madame Béliard, qui ont donc donné de leur temps pour préparer, et je sais que c'est préparé avec minutie cette matinée, donc merci à toutes les deux de ne pas lâcher, de continuer à commémorer cette journée. Merci, bonne matinée.
Merci.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I hope you're doing fine. I'm happy to have you all today. We're all here to show to each other what we were able to do in the context of our work. And Martin Luther King is a great figure for all of us. I think all of us in this room are of Black or of African descent. So it's something that certainly matters to all of us, and I think it's a great thing that we're able to share together and to manifest the legacy of Martin Luther King and what he was able to hand down to us. And I think we can be very proud of the work that we've done, and everybody's going to be able to see this morning. I hope you'll be satisfied with the work that we are going to do as Masters of Ceremony, and I wish you a great morning. So we're going to kick off right away, but before we kick off, I'd like to address a special word to Bernadette, who's celebrating her 17th birthday today. So
Can you stand up?
Wait. You have two birthdays today. It's also Tipanya's birthday. Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Come here. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
I wish you a lot of happiness, and I wish that you reach the personal goals that you're aiming for.
And a lot of love, success, love, money. Yes.
So we're going to kick off just now with the first team, Team 1, who's going to present Commons I Have a Dream. I don't know who the students are, but it's team 1. So
Yeah, can you read the title?
This is the song.
okay,
That's the song.
okay.
It's
MLK
a
biography.
biography.
Okay.
Okay.
No, team 1 is going to present MLK biography.
I mean, it's below. I think it doesn't. It's
It
below, right?
has it, but it is
The song.
and it's small, so it's easy for
Ah, okay. Yeah.
En fait, explique-les que c'est en direct. C'est en direct, on ne peut pas de faute à commettre. Je vois des gens qui passent sur la caméra au point de se couper. Il n'y a pas la route là.
Okay.
S'il vous plaît.
Okay, can you read
Personne ne
the...
passe là. Assurez-vous que le cadrage est bon.
And then, Roland, on a besoin de projecter le PowerPoint.
Oui, on projette le PowerPoint, tout ça. Oui, vous réduisez l'anglais, sauf qu'elle n'aura pas la caméra.
Et le gros projecteur, on peut le remettre.
J'ai dit carrément un élève qui s'est habillé comme ça là.
C'est les filles qui faisaient le...
Parce qu'après, it is one thing to try to do the duet, but
Another challenge to be visible.
yes.
Please, can you put the projector?
The
projector. The projector, please. Can you put the projector on?
So can we please listen to
Put the
team 1? I'm
music.
going to step down and let them
The
have
music
the
first.
place.
Put their music first.
It's supposed to be common. I have a dream.
The music. Put their music.
The projector
Hold on. Put the music, Chris. Put the music.
the right song. It's not the right song. It's my joke. It's supposed to be I have a dream. Common. The song.
This was the presentation slides, actually. The second slide.
Yeah, but now.
Teacher, I have a dream. I have put the song for a music break for the first.
Yes. Because the first team is already there. That's why.
This is the first team, so put their music on, please.
Come on, I have it. Because we will hear it from a lot.
Yeah, of course. Yes, put it on, please.
Very good.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah.
Roman.
The music is it's just for 30 seconds.
Yes.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
Today we are going to talk a presentation. We are going to
Give a presentation.
about a biography of Martin Luther King, and we are going to talk. And can you make a summary?
Check the time.
We are going to talk about the background, his personality, and his ambitions, main achievements, death and consequences, and his legacy.
Go.
First, the background. I think that most of a lot of person in this place know about Martin Luther King. So I'm going to be fast, I think. As you can see, we have the date. So Martin Luther King was born in the 15 January in 1929 in Atlanta. The the date of his murder, it was on 4 April 1968 in the Memphis. And we talk about his parents, Martin Luther King and Alberta Williams King, his wife, Coretta Cook King, and he have 4 children. And he organized and led actions such as the Montegoji Bus boycott to advocate for voting rights and desegregation and employment of ethnic minorities. So that's it. And now, personality.
To talk about the personality of Martin Luther King, we can say that he was an ambitious man dedicated to championing the cause of Black Americans through nonviolence. He was a sincere man and he was described as endearing by the people he knew. He had the will to always practice love of neighborhood without ever giving up the fight against injustice, which testifies to an extraordinary moral sense. A pragmatic man, he was always concerned about the moral significance of our daily actions. He was very courageous and had an exceptional public speaking skills, supported by a high level of self-confidence. His strong desire to succeed and to make difference has led him to achieve all the traits we are going to mention after.
Martin Luther King was a great man with many ambitions. Martin Luther King
Thank you.
was a great man with many ambitions. His primary goal was to fight for the civil rights of Black in the United States. His goal was that Black should have the right to vote, access to a better education, and above all that, they should have the same rights as whites by ending segregation. His peaceful and non-violent movement, which was his number one philosophy, was inspired by Gandhi. Yes, Gandhi, a great man whom Martin Luther King greatly admired. He used his ambitions as a driving force to accomplish these actions in order to achieve his goals without ever giving up. All of King's hard work and determination soon paid off after the end of legal segregation of African Americans.
Main achievements. I think that Martin Luther King did a lot of achievements, but now I'm going to talk about only 10 achievements. The first, he led the Montgomery bus boycott. Second, King was the first president of SCLC, that I'm going to explain. Inspired by the bus boycott, King, along with other civil rights activists, formed the Center's Christian Leadership Conference, that's SSLC, in 1957. To coordinate the efforts, King was the president of SCLC till his assassination in 1968.
The SCLC had a large role in the American civil rights. Three, he led the Birmingham campaign. Four, he was instrumental in organizing the Great March of Washington. Five, his speech intensified the civil rights movement. I think most of you know the great speech, I Have a Dream. Six, King was the Time Magazine's Man of the Year in 1963. Seven, he was behind African American getting basic civil rights. Eight, he became the youngest recipient of Nobel Peace Prize. And ninth, he achieved success using non-violence method. We talk about Ganji. And last but not least, Martin Luther King became the symbol of leader of African American. Thanks.
Martin Luther King was assassinated in the balcony of a motel in Memphis on April 4th, 1968. It's an event that sent shockwaves reverberating around the world. His assassination led to an outpouring of anger among Black Americans. When he was assassinated, King was in Memphis to support African American sanitation workers who were striking to protest unequal wages and working conditions. King's major legacy was the pieces of federal legislation passed in 1964 and 1965. The legacy of Martin Luther King is to say no to a culture of death and yes to a complete transformation of culture to protect and nourish every community and every person. He pronounced racism, poverty, and war as threats to humanity. And he led a movement to generate protest, structural change, and non-violence. This is the legacy to claim.
In conclusion, we can say that Martin Luther King is an unforgettable figure who advanced equality for all races in the United States. Today, these ideals are still being realized. The new voting restrictions, which particularly affect Black and poor voters, are a sign that Martin Luther King's dream is yet to be realized. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you. One, it has to go fast. Huh? We are running late.
Thank you. We're going to continue with Team 2 right away. I think it was necessary and essential to get an introduction about the man that makes us be here today. So Team 2 is going to do a film presentation. Can we get Team 2 down here, please? The film is Selma. Can we get a round of applause for Team 2, please?
Come on, guys. We're gonna run out of time if you take all the first group did more than 7 minutes, and we said it was 5 minutes per group. We will never make it if we waste time.
Hello everyone. We're going to make a presentation about the movie Selma we saw throughout the past 2 weeks. I will be making the historical context. Noah is doing the summary of the movie. Nadia will talk about the favorite moment of the movie, and we will end with Margot with the message delivered by the movie. The movie Selma is based on the event which took place in Selma, a city in Alabama, in the southeastern of the country, uh, which is still well known for its racism and its discrimination against people of color. In the 19th century, most southern state legislatures established restrictive laws against black people, which strictly govern black citizens' behaviors and denying them the suffrage and many other rights. The 15th Amendment of the 50s was supposed to guarantee black people for voting, but people of color had to face abuse of authority.
The summary of this film. Well, this film was directed by Anna Duvernay in 2014, and in this we also have some personalities like Oprah Winfrey. Well, this story begins in 1964 when Dr. Martin Luther King accepts his Nobel Peace Prize. One of the opening scenes is from black little girls walking downstairs in the Church of Alabama. Those girls were killed by a bomb. At this point, many people try to fight against black people injustice. Annie Lee Cooper attempted to register to vote in Selma, but she was pretended by a white register. After this, King met with the President Lyndon B. Johnson and asked for a federal registration to allow black citizens to be able to register so that can vote, but he says that he had other things more important to do. King decided after this with the SCLC to travel all the way to Selma. The FBI director will tell the president that King is a problem to their society, so he suggests to break his marriage. So King and other SCLC leaders and Black Selma residents marched to the registration office to register, but after a fun time, the police got in the crowd. They were arrested and were put in jail for a few days. They manifest by doing a march from Selma to Montgomery, but the police stopped them and were killed. They made a second epic march, but this time with white people from all over the world, and the police didn't do a thing. King decided to back off so that they would be not one hurt. After that march, the president considered the vote for black people and wanted to do the right thing, so in August 1965, he made a speech allowing black people to register so that they can vote. Thank you.
Your common event was called the passage where several black and white gathered alongside Martin Luther King, their leaders, and struggled for a 5-day long walk along a bridge. The fundamental rules of Martin Luther King's movement is there no violence, so the workers are forbidden to hit their attackers no matter what they do to them. During this march, they were escorted by the army, and during this period, it was realized that the alliance between whites and blacks reinforced their impact their march had in the eyes of the world. This march was what triggered the achievement of what they were campaigning for.
The main theme of this movie is that every citizen should have the right to vote. This movie shows how hard and difficult it is to get what we truly want. In this case, it's the matter of the right to vote without being assaulted. What Martin Luther King and the other people standing with him accomplished, secured the right to vote for millions of people, and ensured that Selma was a turning point in the battle of justice and equality in the United States. People of all races came together in Selma, and um, and they showed the world that uniting was possible even in a small town in the middle of Alabama. Um, Today, half a century later, modern days marches are making headlines and history of their own. Selma inspired many people, and now we understand the importance of the right that we have and the right that we need to fight for.
The state of Alabama is still famous for the Selma marches and the Rosa Parks bus events. That's what I wanted to add.
That's it.
That's it. Thank you for listening.
I mean, this people know this.
Thank you, Team 2. Before we get Team 3, I'm going to ask you to really support the people that come to present. I know there's a lot of shy people in here, so let's try to hype them up and to give them the motivation to give their presentations. So, we're going to get Team 3. Team 3 is presenting Malcolm X or MLK Alter Ego.
Martin Luther King. Okay, pronunciation. Try to look at the audience. Okay, try not to read too much. Don't be shy. It's friends, you know. You'll be fine. You'll be great.
So let's focus on Team 3 now, please.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
My group and I are going to do the analysis of the song Glory by John Legend and Common. First we will present rapidly the song, by who was it written and when, why. Then Sian and Bernadette are going to do the analysis of the song. Um, my side is going to do the impact and the public reception of the reaction to the song and a quick question. So, Glory was a single released on December 11th, 2013. Um, it was written by John Legend, She Smith, and Lonnie Lane. The song belongs to the soul and rap genre. It was created for the movie Selma, and it's a powerful song. The music video was produced by Paramount Picture and posted on January 2015. John and Common collide to deliver a strong and powerful message driven by visual of the movie during the song.
The chorus resonates with Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech. Both John Legend and MLK use an anaphor, but instead of repeating "I have a dream," John Legend repeats "When one day when." They both, John Legend and Martin Luther King, imagine a world or a day when African Americans and white Americans have equal rights and opportunities and treatments. Glory refers to that day, which was achieved in the 16th century by the civil rights activists like Martin Luther King, but also Malcolm X. But it doesn't make it less it can still be it can still resonate with today's world and society where Black Americans suffers from police brutality and new civil rights movement like Black Lives Matter are still making actions.
In this verse of Common, he first, with the form, he uses a lot of literal principle like strength rhymes, feminine rhymes, anatolia, and we can clearly see that besides what Common say in his lyrics, he also pays attention to their aesthetic. In this verse, Common promotes freedom. He promotes freedom, and he uses a lot of historical references such as Rosa Parks or the police officer Ferguson who killed a child and weren't judged for that. And yeah, he also criticized justice and claimed for freedom. And in the second verse of John Legend, he also promotes freedom, and he means that we will still strive for that freedom, and when we finally get what we will celebrate by glory.
So John Common is trying to promote a peaceful demonstration because he doesn't want to perpetrate the idea of what people have of African Americans. They are considered as thugs and violent people. So by choosing the peaceful way that was first perpetrated by Martin Luther King, he wants Black people to demonstrate their willpower and dedication. Also, he talks about the power of collective actions. He basically says that it is necessary in order to win the fight against racial injustices. And by saying his power was the people, he says that it implies that MLK's civil rights movement succeeded because he was supported by his congregation and his community and other African Americans around America.
Protest music is music everyone can relate to while they are protesting. People are motivated to keep going because they are all fighting for an injustice, and this type of music is what helps them keep going. The song titled Glory is a great protest song, and it's often heard as Black Lives Matter protest today. The performance of John Legend and Common at the Oscars was outstanding, and not only did they add a standing ovation, but many people were crying in the room. This song is emotional and discusses hope for the future. It really captures the emotion and change beyond not only the film but race relations overall in the United States, both throughout history and today's society as well.
And now we prepared a quick question to make sure y'all follow. So, which famous character Common refers to in his verse? Juan? No, it's someone else in MLK. another civil rights activist. Ange? Yes. Yes. Thank you for your attention.
Just put it on the board.
Thank you. We're going to welcome the first team that's presenting Mr. Brainwash painting.
Yeah, this is going to take us to the graph.
Is that it? No. What do you have?
Can we get a round of applause for them?
I have a video. She still needs your work this morning.
Oh, okay.
I have a PowerPoint,
Do you
but
have it?
I have a
Take it then. Try to put it on. You need 1 minute?
Can you freeze it?
Everyone,
Wait,
today,
wait,
Jean-Daniel
wait. We need to get your PPT ready. 1 second. Thank you.
Which you sent late. The sanction for that. You sent your PowerPoint late. That's perfect. You're good. That's very good.
Perfect. Very efficient.
That was
Thank
fast.
you so much.
Good job.
Hello everyone, today Jean-Daniel and I are going to give you our presentation about Mr. Brainwash painting. Art is a way to commemorate. We can commemorate with humor, provocation, or else. Jean-Daniel is going to talk about the context. He's going to do the description, and me, I'm going to do the analysis. He's going to talk about the symbolism, and I will end with the public reception.
So, hello everyone.
Hello.
Okay. So this painting by Thierry Guetta, also known as Mr. Brainwash, the American street artist, was made in February 2011 in Los Angeles at South La Brea, Dockweiler Street. And this painting aims to commemorate all the actions of these great figures that are Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, and Barack Obama, and to never forget all they had done for the Black population of America. Okay, so for the description, this is a picture of an artwork by Mr. Brainwash, like I say, and the American street artist made the famous thanks to the film Exit Through the Gift Shop, directed by his fellow artist. The richest Banksy pointed this mural in Los Angeles, right next to his studio, and it represents, like you can see, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, and Barack Obama portrayed standing next to each other. On the left side of the wall, you can read a text directly referring to this figure. Another wall next to it, the words "Follow your dreams" are also painted.
When we analyze the painting, we can see that he painted the three characters in a chronological way, because it was a part that started to defend the cause by sitting on the bus she wasn't allowed to. Then Martin Luther King did the Montgomery bus boycott, and then it encouraged Barack Obama to become president. On the other wall, we can see Follow Your Dream, and we can illustrate that because Martin Luther King wanted to be the president of America, and Barack Obama became the president in 2009, and it's like a dream becoming true. The three characters are illustrating also the sentence that is right next to on the wall. And to conclude, we can see that the painting is illustrating the evolution of the Afro-American fight with all the three figures.
Okay. For the symbolism, Rosa Parks was the first Afro-American woman to dare and sit for her height and thus for those of all Afro-Americans. Her symbolic and heroic action was to sit in a spot reserved for white people on the bus. Her refusal to give her seat and the fact that she appealed for sentence was a starting point for Martin Luther King Jr.'s fight for African American civil rights. Indeed, the Reverend took the first step in his struggle by launching a boycott of the bus company at a stake in Rosa Parks' case. He then pursued to argue for the civil rights, promoting the value of non-violent protest. And one of his most memorable deeds is the historic March of Washington. This the historic March of Washington for Jobs and Freedom. Sorry, in 1963. And he walked to the Lincoln Memorial, what a symbol also, knowing that Lincoln is the one to have abolished slavery in the United States, and followed by about 250,000 supporters, and conclude the march with his notorious "I Have a Dream" speech. Sadly, he was eventually murdered a few years later for his positions.
A lot of people didn't like the painting of Mr. Brainwash because it's street art, and a lot of people think that it's illegal and don't like it. But it's a way of commemorating the evolution of the Afro-American fight. So a lot of people came to the inauguration and like the painting. And when I was doing my researches, I saw that this is the Mr. Brainwash painting. It's a symbol for the commemoration of the Afro-American fight with all the three figures that are most important, as such as Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, and Barack Obama. Thank you.
Thank you.
The bell's gonna ring now. It has already. Yeah.
It's supposed to go break.
Yeah, normally, right? Don't we? Can you ask? Can you ask?
Do you guys need a break, like a 5 or 10 minute break?
It's not that stupid. Okay, let's go. Okay.
We're going to continue with the fifth presentation, which is Malcolm X or MLK alter ego.
Otherwise, we're gonna be late because we still have the speeches.
But I thought like to be more comfortable next time we should just keep it until 12:30 because
Yeah,
it
we're
doesn't really
rushing.
matter.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the last time they did it 3 hours because they were all the time having there were 3 of them. So that's what.
Hello everybody. Today we are here to celebrate MLK, but how can we talk about MLK without talking about Malcolm X? So, who is Malcolm X? Malcolm Little, known as Malcolm X, also known as El Haj Malik El Shabazz, born on May 19, 1925 in Omaha and died on February 21st, 1965 in Harlem. He was an African-American orator, preacher, spokesman for the Nation of Islam, and also an activist, political and human rights activist.
Martin Luther King is more common. Martin Luther King was born in Atlanta, Georgia on January 15, 1929 and was murdered on April 4, 1968 in Tennessee. He was an African-American pastor, Baptist, and non-violent activist for the American Civil Rights Movement, and he was also a fervent campaigner for peace and against poverty. We are going to ask ourselves if Malcolm X is MLK's alter ego. And first, we are going to see two characters, two different perceptions, but two characters and one fight. Although these two Black leaders belong to the same generation, they clash politically and deploy very different strategies to achieve the goal of improving the living condition of the men and women in their community. When we talk about Malcolm X, it is impossible to dissociate him from Martin Luther King and the dispute that through the civil rights movement in the United States. The two men had different traits of characters. One was proactive, emotionally intelligent, a visionary, and the other was autodidact, stubborn, determined, and open-minded. They also took inspiration from different persons. MLK was mostly inspired by Gandhi with his passive and peaceful protest, and Malcolm X was inspired by Elijah Muhammad and his aggressive and forceful protest. The most fundamental difference between the two African Americans concern the framework in which they inscribe their actions. Martin Luther King fight is national and has one goal: to force the American society to integrate the African American minority. For Malcolm X, being an American is a bit of a coincidence, and he sees himself more as a citizen of the world who seeks to unite the oppressed of the world.
To continue, the two men also use different ways to manage their aims. On the one hand, we have Martin Luther King that you can see on the board. He advocated a passive attitude. He always fought peacefully. For example, he organized some Pacific march like the Selma March in 1965. On the other hand, we have Malcolm X, who believed in the power of force. He made fun of Martin Luther King's method. How could we stay passive in front of white aggressions? For him, it was just self-defense. The violence were legitimate. He was totally opposed to this Christian statement who says, if someone strikes you on the one cheek, turn to him the other also. His quotation illustrates perfectly his opinion. If someone puts a dog on you, kill that dog. So Malcolm X delivered speeches which called public to Black resistance. On the opposite, Martin Luther King preferred to persuade and convince rather than use violence for all price. He resorted to negotiations with politicians like the President Johnson. Malcolm X, the only time he decided to negotiate with white side, this was with the members of Ku Klux Klan. He thought they could gather about their will to be separated.
Now we are going to show the true character one fight. While Malcolm X and Martin Luther King was different to many people, they were respected leaders in Black community. Although they clashed politically, okay, different from the fight, their goal was the same: the liberation of Black men. On March 18, 1963, Malcolm X left the Nation of Islam. He then began a pilgrimage at Mecca and returned to the United States after a few stops to different countries.
on his origin, his position was different, less radical and more closer than ideas of Martin Luther King. With all his assassination of 1965, Malcolm X might have made an ally out of the man he called a chicken. Both men died at the age of 39, and by the end of their respective life, the vision of the one had come to touch the others. Toward the end of their fight, which were also cut by short by an assassination in 1968, Martin Luther King ideas became somewhat more closer and radical. Martin Luther King said, when I listen to Malcolm X speak, I get angry too.
In conclusion, we can say that MLK and Malcolm X share the same story and the same fight, but they were two different characters with different personalities and different visions. Malcolm X was more than King's alter ego. He had his own idea, and they influenced each other. However, they share a similar story, and they are seen nowadays as emblematic figure of fight against segregation in the United States and even in the world. Thank you for your attention.
Sorry, I have something to say. We made a little bit of a mistake on the presentation when you saw
in English.
Can you come back in the presentation, please? With the images of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, you can see that the codes were not the same that Spania has said. We made a mistake and put the wrong code on each images. So this code is from Malcolm X and the other is for Martin Luther King.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next presentation is about Barack Obama MLK painting.
They did that already.
Is it me?
Which one? This one?
Barack Obama MLK.
It's you now. Is the drink for sure?
So Giovanni is going to present alone. Could we get a round of applause for Giovanni, please?
No, teacher. Please.
Thank you.
You keep
I think that because the next is not very. What I'm watching is not very.
Yeah, don't stop it because the most important part is at the end. Yeah, the speeches at the end.
I'll take some.
Can I have just the yellow?
I like the yellow.
I also thank you.
Hi everyone. Today I'm going to present you Barack Obama MLK's dream fulfilled. Dreaming, everyone does it, but some have dared to dream world-changing, life-altering, and many have had the opportunity to watch their dream come true. Our forefathers fought so the American dream could live on so that the future generation bear witness. They fought so that dreams could have place take root in America and Americans could dare to follow their dreams and matter how big or small, and in doing so, dreamer will forever change and propel the country upward and forward. One such dreamer was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He dreamed a dream so magnificent it became famous, and people across the United States and around the world took notice. Equality for all was his dream, and he knowingly laid the foundation for and inspired the first African American president of the United States of America, Barack Obama, who too had the dream of change for America. Not only did President Obama dream of change for America, he successfully followed his dream into public service. In doing so, he set a prime example of how even today dreams can come true, sometimes even twice, as in re-election as president. Mr. Obama's election was anticipated as the culmination of the two complementary but distinct events of August 28, 1963, the march and the speech. These are often couched as synonymous when actually one was an activist demand for equal rights and the other an emotional prayer for equality. In fact, Barack Obama is the embodiment of the King's inspiring oration, but not the personification of the March Black activism. There is no question that Afro Americans were and remain incredibly proud that their nation entrusted its highest office to a black man. Images from the night of 2008 presidential election reflect the deep emotional significance of that event. Many remarked that the election served as proof that the American dream was finally tangible and that it will no longer be dishonest to tell their children they could achieve anything. His election is and will forever be Obama's most significant contribution to Afro-Americans. Much as King's speech provided a moment and a figure that symbolized a people's heartfelt desire for equality, Obama's election and two terms presidency updated the dream and positively changed the realm of the possible for Afro-Americans. There was a sense among Afro-Americans that once Obama assumes the presidency, he will begin to address the long ignored ills that have plagued many black communities for decades. Instead, he made very clear on that his job is to help all Americans by strengthening the middle class and spending the economic recovery through fair share, progressive tax, and other policies. For example, when criticized about not doing enough to help Afro-American businesses, he replied, "My general view has been consistent throughout, which is that I want all businesses to succeed. I want all Americans to have the opportunity. I'm not the president of Black America. I am the president of the United States of America." And this is exactly correct. Anyone expecting Obama to make the plight of Afro-Americans the focus of his presidency does not fully appreciate the enormity of the office and issue it must address. The result is that his election and policies have not significantly affected the condition of Black America as advocated at the march in 1963. The full name of the political demonstration is instructive. The March for Jobs and Freedom. Barack Obama has simply aligned his approach with the adage, "A rising tide lifts all boats." In other words, by simply helping all Americans, the theory goes. It is inevitable that Afro-Americans will also benefit, but what the March on Washington and many members of the Black community argued is that the primary issue was about disparities, that rising tide do not close the gaps. Thus, from a practical perspective, not much has changed about the Afro-Americans' experience under a Black president. Thank you.
Yeah, this is normally the last. No, no, this one, Giovanni's. No, no.
Can I see the paper?
There's one that's
Before the pictures.
No, this one. DJs. How is MLK a symbol of diversity?
That's the last one. That's the last one that's coming now.
okay. So now the last presentation. Gija is going to present.
How is MLK a symbol of diversity and inclusion?
How is MLK a symbol of diversity and inclusion? Can we get a round of applause for the group that's presenting this? We should also congratulate Giovanni for being for presenting alone. And if there's some people wondering why the terminal they are presenting more than us, it's because we also did presentations in class, so that's why we're not doing as much as you. But you will see us later.
Hello everyone, I'm Paladine, here is Ida and Marcel, and today we're doing a presentation on Martin Luther King, symbol of diversity and inclusion. Well, first of all, we wanted to give the definition of the terms from the subject. So what is diversity and what is inclusion? We tried first of all to give you our own definitions of each word. So diversity is the fact of being composed of various elements or persons. For example, in this classroom, we are pretty much all Cameroonians, but we are not necessarily coming from the same ethnicities, and this is already a sign of being diverse. But inclusion goes a little further, if you can say, because the fact of being included in something is the fact of being accepted as you are in a group of individuals. But we also thought that it would be great to give you the definitions that Google provided. So diversity is the practice or quality of including or involving people from a range of different social, ethnic backgrounds, different genders, and sexual orientations. And inclusion is the policy of providing equal access to opportunities and resources for people who might otherwise be excluded or marginalized, such as those who have physical and mental disabilities and members of other minority groups. So now the summary. First of all, we'll see how MLK became a symbol. So Adija is going to do an analysis of the Washington's March in 1963, sorry, and she'll also give the testimony of a woman who had the chance to assist to it. Then I will talk about the symbolization. So it's the process that led to him becoming the symbol and the important figure it is today and at the time. Because when we talk about Martin Luther King, we talk about equal rights, unity, and peace. Then we will see its impact and influence on others. So Darcel will explain in what his action results in, the people who inspired him nowadays, and we will conclude.
So the March on Washington was a massive protest march that occurred on August 28, 1963. About 250,000 people of all races gathered in front of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. It was also known as the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, and the event aimed to draw attention to
the continuing challenges and inequalities faced by the African American community a century after the end of slavery. The stated goals of the protest included a comprehensive civil rights bill that would get rid of segregated public accommodations, protection of the right to vote, a desegregation of all public schools in 1963, and a federal works program to train and place unemployed workers. It was also the occasion of Martin Luther King Jr.'s now iconic I Have a Dream speech. And the march gave birth to the Civil Rights Act of 1964 that authorized a federal intervention to ensure the desegregation of schools, parks, swimming pools, and other public facilities, and restricted the use of literacy tests as requirements for voter registration. So we don't have the time to read fully her testimony. Her name is Carol Handler, and she was 27 years old at the time of the march. She marched along with Martin Luther King, and I guess you can read for yourself, but what we thought was interesting is the fact that how she defined Martin Luther King's energy. She says the electricity that he created, his ability to capture the real issues and their emotional import was stunning. And she also highlights at the end the importance of unity among Black and white communities. So,
so as I said earlier, symbolization is what led him to become a legend and an important figure. So after the incident, Rosa Parks lived in a bus of Montgomery in 1963. Few people decided to ally to boycott the bus company, and few days after, MLK has been chosen to be at the head of the American Civil Rights Movement, and he was the perfect profile for this because of his nonviolence philosophy. It was a good thing for the Black community, but it was also a relief for the American government, for which it was better to have a pacifist at the head of the movement instead of a man ready to physically fight. So MLK succeeded to touch everyone's hearts thanks to his charisma. He indeed had ways with words. He was able to captivate the crowd and keep it hooked. And I think that the actor in Selma really displayed how well he was able to speak. And I was, sorry, I would also say that his nonviolence philosophy can be hard for some people to get, but with a good speech, he can convince anyone. However, white people weren't responding as peacefully as him. They attempted to murder him multiple times. They destroyed his church and even threatened his loved ones, but he never fought back. He simply used his word. And thanks to that, he won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964 after the Selma's March, and even had the chance to meet the Pope. He even had the chance to meet the Pope Paul VI in 1964 as well, shortly before, and this is what shows his recognition worldwide.
The result of his actions. First of all, we have the philosophy of nonviolence. Despite the fact that he was largely responsible of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act in 1965, he shared his philosophy of nonviolence by by showing that without violence we can finally win, as he done and as he said. Nonviolence is a way of life for courageous people. It is active nonviolent resistance to evil. MLK concealed the American community, especially white and non-white people, even if some of them stuck on their segregationist positions. To illustrate it, I took another quote, and it is non-violence seeks to win friendship and understanding the end result of non-violence, redemption, and reconciliation. In addition, we have the social changes. He unified people together under a common goal. For example, today you won't find black people and white forced to sit separated on the section bus or drink from separated water fountains in a public space. And at last, his actions concerned several branches. Several branches. First, it inspired the processes of end of the apartheid in South Africa, and he had an influence on the international law by the 1965 adoption of the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination that was adopted after King's death, assassination, sorry. And the American Constitution by the election of the first black president, Obama, in 2008. The white, yes.
So we wanted to take a real example of movements that were largely inspired by him. So in February 2011, in the context of the Arab Springs, tens of thousands of Egyptians packed into Cairo's Tahrir Square to peacefully demand change. They were tired of the high unemployment rate, the corruption, and the poverty they were living under, but most of all, they were tired of their president, Hosni Mubarak, who had an autocratic and authoritarian regime. And so they wanted to push him to resign. And they succeeded after a few days of peaceful protest. And the protesters were seen as heroes because they had proved that peaceful mass demonstration could bring about real change. A civil rights era comic book named Martin Luther King and the Montgomery Story was translated into Arabic and published 2,500 copies, and young people in the Arab world started using it to learn about peaceful forms of protest and such as sit-ins and boycotts. And people in Egypt, young protesters in Egypt, particularly liked this comic book. Thus, we can say that MLK's message and tactics are universal. They can work anywhere and create cohesion and among people of different backgrounds that share a common goal.
To conclude, we can say that MLK's pacifist actions were the first achievement for American people. Diversity and inclusion can be seen in his actions, for example, the March protest, and his personality, because, as you know, he has a big heart. And Martin Luther King was not a person of color. He was a feather. A human, and a man. We can say that, but unfortunately, his story is only briefly known. Besides the MLK Day, the depth of the events on his period are sometimes overlooked, as when his books were burned, and today he celebrates throughout the world, and it is a real symbol of peace, unity, and freedom. Thank you.
Very good. The speeches now.
Thank you very much. I want to congratulate all the people that just presented, and there have been a lot of girls, so congratulations to all the girls in the room. And I think Chris and Cillian, who spent a lot of time working this up, also deserve a round of applause. This was the last presentation. Now we're going to get into the second phase of our morning, the speeches that a lot of people prepared. We don't have a lot of time, but it's going to be very, very interesting, I think. So please try to pay attention and to support the people that are going to give the speeches. The people that are going to present the speeches, I'm going to ask you to line up right here so that when the first person is done, then the second one can continue right away.
Can you call them in order of passage?
We're going to start with Angel. Please welcome Angel. Yes. Okay, Angel, then Paul Joseph, then Princess, then Kendi, then Skanda, then.
Isabelle will do it later today.
Okay, but the other people from the class.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody goes.
Please listen to our first speech giver.
Once upon a time was a man called John. Once upon a time was a woman called Mary. John and Mary had the same age, the same job, and the same schedule, but not the same salary. Despite the similarities, John was way better paid than Mary. Once upon a time was a boy named Max. Once upon a time was a woman called Emma. Max and Emma both wanted to enter a football team, and there was only one place left. The team captain had to choose. A few moments later, while John was performing touchdowns, Emma was spectating in the stands. Once upon a time was a male called James. Once upon a time was a female called Sandra. James and Sandra were married, and they had the same age, the same educational level, and the same diplomas. Despite, James was the one who had to go work to bring money back home, while Emma's place was in the kitchen. Once upon a time was a human called Angel. After seeing similar situations, he went to sleep, and while he was sleeping, he had a dream. He had a dream of a society where men and women could one day have the same treatment. He had a dream of a society where men and women could one day have opinions of equal value. He had a dream of a society where men and women could have the same remuneration for their work. He had a dream of a society where men and women have equal chances in their lives. He had a dream of a society where men and women could finally be equal. Thank you.
They were girls. I think like 1A, T, A, T, B. Where? Go.
My wish for global warming is that people cease to ignore it. My wish for global warming is that people start to think about it. My wish for global warming is that we all together start to act for a better future. For all children, the mankind, and all species which lives upon the earth, we should act for a better future. If our wish doesn't come true, we will be lost. Coastal town will be drawn, the biosphere will be scrambled. Is that what we want?
No.
Is that what we wish for?
No.
If so, raise your hand and then leave. But if your wish is to live in a sustainable world, then get along and follow me for our wish to come true. Governments from all over the world will hear our scream and follow us into our crusade. They must understand that global warming concerns us all. Global warming does not make differences between skin color or gender, neither animal nor human. There is no side in this war. Humans from all over the globe unite. However, nowadays, I'm frightened to know that the decrease of half the northern ice continent, the Arctic, didn't even shake our brains. We stood here in a hot pillow, consuming and polluting resources that that our planet couldn't give without a setback in the future. The last year, we've been at our polluting peak. The Department Day took place the 29th July 2021. It is time we shall overcome, we will overcome, our dream will become a reality.
We are waiting for you, princess.
We are running out of time.
Morning, everybody. Cameroon is a beautiful and rich country. We love and share this country. Unfortunately, inter-ethnic conflicts and Anglophone crises are part of everyday life. Faced with these handicaps, living together is essential. What's called living together? Living together is a social construction, a mutual commitment. It's about accepting differences. Listen, living together is based. Living together is based on the ability to reconcile personal fulfillment with collective well-being. All this to live harmoniously and in peace. The Anglophone crisis is a manifestation of the failure of Cameroon nation building projects. In this sense, it's not an Anglophone crisis, but a Cameroonian one. This can be explained by the lack of a real national unity. For national cohesion, linguistic community, and ethnic boundaries between people must be broken down. I have a dream, living together in Cameroon. Tired of seeing Cameroonians choose professions by looking at their ethnicities. Pay their ambitions and objectives for that. Stop. We want, see the Cameroonians put down tribalism and cross the road. Lay down arms. Cameroon has 10 regions, but we are all Cameroon. Let us listen to each other. Let us live in peace. Let us live in peace together. Solidarity above all. Let us be united in diversity. Soon and very soon, we will be one and indivisible. Thank
Then let's welcome
Hello, everyone. Up to 811 million people were undernourished in 2020, almost a tenth of the world's population. Overall, more than half of all undernourished people, 418 million, live in Asia and 282 million in Africa. Malnutrition is real. I have come here today to dramatize this critical condition. Tell me, dear comrades, what is this world we live in? A world where we are seeing a spike in obesity rates in Europe and America, where people are dying, people are suffering for not being fed enough. How can we stay blind? Is there suffering not visible? What does it cost us to help these people who are humans, like you, like me, humans, adults, children, who do not choose to live in such precariousness, in such wretchedness, in such instability, in such fragility? 6 million children die of hunger every year. I am not asking you for your mercy. I am not asking you for your pity. I am asking you as inhabitants from the same lands, beings of the same species, do not close your eyes. We can bury their distress in favor of their smiles. We can provide light in lives of misery. We can do it because of our humanity. Any human group derives its richness from communication, from mutual help and solidarity, aimed at a common goal, the fulfillment of each person. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksand of Lycée to the solid rock of equity. Now is the time to make happiness a reality for all God's children. Let us not wallow in the valley of selfishness. I say to you today, my friends. So even though the life of nightmares, I still have a dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true reason of its being. Philanthropy, altruism, charity, and unity. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome.
Tu peux me le dire si c'est bon.
86 years ago, a great France and some others signed the tripartite Matignon agreements. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope for dignity and poverty's exemption to millions and millions of workers, until the counterattack of the next reactionary government suppressing a part of it. And today, even with all the labor of various comrades that helped us in the battle, liberals and traitors and fought their role, the worker lives in an ocean of poverty around the lonely island of wealth. Today, the workers is shaken to the last centile, the internationalized, globalized elite. Like 2 centuries ago, he is a merchandise in the actual world economy. It's obvious today that the Republic has defaulted on his mission. Instead of honoring its people, the Republic got definitively submitted by liberals. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all the French workers. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live in the true meaning of this popular creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that we need to function from each according to his ability, to each according to his need. I have a dream that one day through all the districts of Paris, former bourgeois and proletarian will be able to share coffee at a decent price. I have a dream that one day even the richest suburbs of Ile-de-France, some places vectoring with ostentatious crown against the poor, will be transformed into an oasis of diversity and justice. I have a dream that workers' children won't be predetermined to be exploited as their parents, but will be able to be artists, sportsmen, politicians, or whatever, but not only workmen and employees. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day down in our fields, all farmers, all of them, will be paid correctly with a decent work time per week, with correct work conditions because of their words of nation's feeder, unlike their actual statute of great company slaves. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day our country, from Alsace to Tahiti, from Saint-Pierre-Miquelon to Réunion, from New Caledonia to Aquitania, France will be free with a real justice, with decent condition of life, because each one of them serve their rights in the most beautiful countries around the world. Africa, my Africa. Blessed land of God, creator of our Father, why are you bleeding? 4 centuries of submission, but I'm still feeling the pain of the wisdom of back. 6 decades of healing from colonization, but my hands are still tied. We have desperately prayed for freedom, but they are still dictating me my behavior. We have desperately prayed for peace, but we are still building new graveyards. Today, I declare it is over. We are done. I have a dream. All the honor, the pride we had once for our continent will be everlasting back. I have a dream, the legacy of nationalism that Nelson Mandela or Patrice Lumumba led us will never be lost. Oh, I have a dream. The imperialism and the honor once incarnated in Sunjata Keita or Haile Selassie I will be back in our hands.
Yeah, it will be back.
Dear young generation, the change is in our hands. I have a dream. Faithfully, we will be able to heal out of the mountain of despair and lamentation, a rock of hope and prosperity. Faithfully, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our community into a symphony of brotherhood. Oh, I have a dream today. Africa, my Africa. I make you the promise. Those people who insult us and kick us out of the country will fill queues in front of our embassies to take part to the African dream. I had a dream. Africa, my Africa. I make you the promise. Times of cheers will be over. I have a dream. We shall overcome.
Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome. Thank you for your attention.
Oh my God.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a dream that one day my African brothers and sisters will not feel insecure anymore about their skin tone. I'm so sick at heart to see how my people are endangering themselves by literally burning their skin. I'm tired of reminding my people how beautiful and amazing our skin color is. We have so much diversity, so much shade of our blackness that all are unique. When I walk on the street and see all the ads promoting lightening products, showing celebrities, increasing that feeling of the whiter you look, the more accepted and prettier you will be. How do you want it to end if you don't actually fight for it? By burying, and glorifying those products, you just result in intensifying that. So please, I'm begging you, help me building a world where none of us has to change his skin tone to feel beautiful because you are perfect the way you
Where is the world going? Where is the education going?
That microphone is not working. Put it on.
Elizabeth.
Where is the world going? Where is the education going? I have a dream to be in a world where our children to go to a school. I have a dream to see children who can read and write. I have a dream to see that everyone succeeds in finding a job, getting out of poverty, participate fully and reversing in society. We saving a common culture. We can discipline knowledge. We can maintain and perpetuate love rules. Let's promote of development. By doing this, we will make progress. Thank you.
Fellow citizens, fellow young people, fellow students, if I stand before you this morning, it is because I believe that we can make a change. I believe that we are the generation of consciousness and audacity. What is there to be changed about, you ask me? Well, you must know how tragic, how concerning and dramatic our environmental situation has become. In the recent years, the man has been harming his own shelter, abusing its resources, and entangling himself in a remarkably devastating crisis. The international organizations are all deploring the wildfires, the scorching summers, the never-ending hungers, and all the abnormal phenomena that have been threatening our well-being and that of all living things a little more every day. What I believe is that now is the time for us to act. Now is the time for us to stop behaving as free riders, as bystanders, as observers, but rather to transform, to improve, and to impulse a change of dynamic. We are the generation of globalization, of technology and transmission, and it should be a duty for you and I to start a global revolution. We don't need to wait for anyone else to stand up for us. We have what it takes to save our planet, our peace, and our health. Let's demonstrate the necessary maturity to assure for our children and our children's children a peaceful life. I have a dream that one day I will look back on my early life and tell myself that I am proud of what I was able to achieve to save this planet, to save my own peace and this world. And all of it will be because of us, all of us young people, and only because of us. Thank you. My speech was the last one. I think we're done. Maybe we can get a few words from the teachers.
No, the
song. No, wait, we're not done. We have one last show. But before the show, I want to address one last special word. We already addressed two special words, and the last one is for the girls that decorated the room. I don't know if I think you noticed it. Oman and Aidis and Rosalba did a great job with the balloons.
My son.
And my son. Sorry, my son. So now we're going to get the final phase of the morning with the singing performance. Yes.
Come, guys. Hurry up, guys. We need to get the family picture.
Thank you.
Is Melissa? Hold on, signature. We cannot put it here. Can you make sure? Can you make sure? Dija,
Regarde, tiens, regardez un peu ça.
Guys, can you go that way so that they can? Yeah, we need to see. John Daniela, can you look like this so that we get into the camera? Get in the camera.
Faudrait qu'on le voit tous.
Yes.
Ouais, c'est bon.
Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Let's go.
En fait, avec le son, il peut
Watch out, it's life, huh?
I'm very excited.
Guys, it's going on live, huh?
It's not like
One, two. Let's go, JP.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Please, attention, please.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be found. We will be found. Oh, glory. Oh,
Become blessings. The movement is the freedom to us. Freedom is recognition to us.
that is the case of the season of life. That is the whole life is the same enough. When sometimes spirit represented enough. You can really live in the life, the existing life. That's what the living servant is doing. That's what we want. We are hands up. When the good down, we in men up. Just keep straight down. And we stay up. Shots in the world. And keep the things up. Keep running from the mountains up. And we ran it up. When the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day.
When the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Glory.
Now for every minute. You're gonna get a song. It's on every crowd. They know with the talk, they can know what you know. From that road, hero to become a hero. This is the leg of justice. The soul of other people, enemy of blessing. A king became a hero. So if it has been through under a month.
Now we right the wrong initially. No one can win the war individually. It is the wisdom of the television. The coming of the Lord, my eyes have seen the glory.
One day, when the Lord comes, He will be ours. He will be ours. Whoa, one day, when the Lord's won, we will be ours. We will be ours. Whoa, glory.
Glory, glory, when the world is won, when troubles in down, we cry glory, oh glory.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. All right. A round of applause, please, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You need to be very brave to do what you've done today. So really, from the bottom of my heart, you give me the chills to be real. So really, congratulations. You're amazing, and I can't wait to see where you're going to be in 10 years from now.
Well, we see this going year after year, and I mean, I was having goosebumps watching you, listening to all those wonderful speeches and presentations. This is actually the reward of being a teacher, getting students in project and seeing them being involved and motivated and committed. You really make us proud, and we want to thank you for that. Well done, everyone who contributed, took part into making this happen. Yeah, I can't wait to see you in 10 or 20 years' time with your babies and your husbands and then working in the United Nations or I don't know where, presidents, ministers. It's going to be great. And then we will be in the corner of our houses and we'll say, that was my student. And she's still the collage. Yeah, really well done, guys. We are proud of you. You made it and then we are proud. Thank you so much. Good. Now we're gonna go out because the bell has surely rung already. We're just gonna take a family picture and yeah. Yes, the glory will be out. Maybe next year we're gonna be the teachers singing glory, huh? Yes. Have a nice day, guys. It was nice. Thank you so much. We go with all our bags, right? Because we're not coming back here. Please